The Big Sister Experience is here to share honest conversations and insights around life, mental health, and well-being. While we aim to inform and inspire, the content of this podcast is for general information purposes only. If any topics raises questions or concerns for you, we encourage you to seek professional support or advice before acting on any topics discussed. To begin today's episode, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we are recording from, the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We acknowledge that learning through conversation and stories is an Indigenous practice that has been done on this land for centuries before us. We want to pay our respect to any Indigenous or Torres Strait Islander people listening and elders past and present. We acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded and it always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Before we begin, please note that this episode will include topics related to mental health, which may include discussions of anxiety, depression, trauma, or other mental health issues and illnesses, as well as suicide and self-harm and related topics. Everyone processes these topics differently, so please take care of yourself in whatever way you need, whether that means pausing, stepping away, or reaching out to someone you trust. If you're struggling, you're not alone. Support is available. There are resources at the end of every episode for those who need it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sisterhood Space. We are so excited to be here with you all. My name's Chantel, my pronouns are she, her.
And my name's Zoe, and my pronouns are also she, her. Obviously, we are not Tiara and Caitlin, but we are part of the Sisterhood Support team here at the Big Sister Experience. So we get to be lead facilitators, but we also get to be big sisters to the rest of the team and be there to support them, which I really love doing.
Absolutely, it's so great. We are so excited to be here today. So although the title might seem gendered, we're here as your big sisters today to kind of be that role model for you, but we want you to show up however feels right for you.
So that being said, we're the big sisters, you're in the space. Welcome to the Sisterhood Space. So after weeks of getting to watch our podcast, we finally get to be on it.
I know, I've been just like waiting for our turn and it's finally come. So
Yay.
It's so exciting.
And we actually get to do a topic that's like super close to our hearts, which I think is like such a privilege to be given the honor to talk about this, not only to share our voices, but hopefully to give other young people the confidence to share their own stories.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
So that topic that is close to our hearts is mental health.
Absolutely. The good, bad, the ugly, whatever that may look like, we're here for it and we're here to talk about it today.
So if you haven't watched one of our podcasts before, we answer some questions that we often get in workshops. So we have 2 questions here today. I'm going to start. So the question that we have here is, what do I do when no one believes me, when I know something is wrong with my mental health? Will I ever get better?
I feel like this is a question that comes up so much in workshops and something that like is so prominent in our young adults and young female identifying students at the moment. Like it's so common. So I'm really glad we're answering this.
Yeah, me too. I think the will I ever get better is something that like I just feel like in my chest when I hear a young person ask that, and like when I see that's the question here.
Yeah.
Because I think it's something that we've asked ourselves as well.
Yeah, 100%.
So firstly, I think it is awful when no one believes you.
Yeah.
I know for me, I knew I didn't feel like myself. I knew that I had lost something distinctly Zoe about me. And the simplest way to put it, even though it's not simple to do, is you have to trust your gut when you're not feeling like yourself. Yeah. No matter what anyone else thinks, you have to trust your gut. And what I said to myself when I was going through this was, there is nothing wrong with me, but there is something wrong for me right
great
now.
way of putting it, yeah.
And we talk about our stories in workshops, so I think it'd be really nice if we just gave a little summary to all of the people listening. I was diagnosed with depression after quite a long period of not feeling like myself, and I had reached out for help. I had seen psychologists and psychiatrists and doctors, and they had been doing a lot of different things with me, but nothing was quite working. So I was feeling this feeling of not being believed. I was feeling like, oh my gosh, is there something seriously wrong with me? Am I really bad at being a young adult? And somehow I can't cope with life, and am I just failing at all this? Because I was going and saying, I'm feeling really sad, I'm feeling really empty and dark, and everything feels meaningless. Nothing feels like it has a purpose anymore. And I had these professionals saying to me, oh, sadness is normal. And I was like, yeah, I really value the feeling of sadness, but this isn't oh, something's happened and I feel sad. This is like I wake up in the morning with dread and I go to bed at night feeling completely empty.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to get on the positive thought train in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Or my least favorite, be grateful.
Oh, I could scream.
I know, right? I was grateful.
Yeah.
I had a roof over my head. I had family who loved me, friends who loved me. I had a job. I had what everyone would deem in terms of like resources and materials, like everything in my life. And I was so grateful for it. And in fact, I felt worse because I was like, I have everything. How could I possibly be feeling like this? And other people from the outside, I think it speaks to this, what if no one believes me? They look at you and think, yeah, how could you be feeling like this?
Yeah.
So you really, really have to trust your gut that something isn't feeling right.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that is the first step. Believe yourself when no one else is believing you.
I think as well, advocating for yourself is such a huge thing because I always had this thing when I first started my journey of mental health and I was struggling with my anxiety and these massive feelings that were going on for me during like early years of high school, going into all stages of throughout my high school. It changed and it differed. But I think advocating for yourself, because I feel like the person that you first go to sometimes isn't the person who's going to be the one who listens.
Yeah.
For some people, you're going to go and you're going to hit it off with a psychologist and it's going to be absolutely great and things are going to look really good straight away. But for others, it might not look like that. And I think advocating for yourself and going like, okay, I'm not going to give up just because one person isn't listening to me. I feel like that's such a huge thing because you know yourself so well. And like you said, you know when something's off. And it can be really frustrating. I know for myself during my mental health journey, there was a few times along the way where I'm very similar to you. I had really supportive family, really supportive friends. But there were some times when people would look at me and go, why is she even upset? Like, she's got all these things. Why is she feeling anxious? Why is she depressed? Why is she using unhealthy coping mechanisms? And it's like, there's actually an underlying thing happening here. But if you were to listen, you would understand.
Yeah.
But sometimes people don't want to listen.
Yeah.
And it can be really difficult finding that person. So my big thing for the first bit of this question is just keep advocating for yourself.
Yeah.
Keep talking to people. Keep reaching out. Keep trying to find that support because it is there somewhere.
Yeah. Someone is going to have the next step forward because it can get better and we will get into that. It absolutely can. Not everyone is going to have the resources socially or culturally to reach out to professionals. And I think we'll touch on that with maybe the second question.
Yeah.
But I did, and I still found it took years to receive the help I needed. I did speak to psychologists, psychiatrists, and doctors. And for whatever reason, they were misunderstanding me or something was going wrong where whatever they were doing was not helping. Now I have a psychologist and a psychiatrist and an OT that all really I feel comfortable with. It doesn't mean that I don't get challenged or it doesn't mean that I'm not learning.
No, yeah.
It just means I feel safe to be challenged and I feel comfortable and I trust them. And that has made the complete world of difference. And it's shown me that like it's not you that's the problem in these scenarios where people can't help you or can't listen to you or can't believe you. It's actually you just have to find the person who can do that for you. And as you said, you have to keep trying until you find that person, because when you do, it's life-changing and life-saving.
And I think as well, like it can be really difficult to be like going from one psychologist to another psychologist and you being like, oh, they're not listening, I'm not being heard, this is pointless, like why am I even trying to do this? And we've had quite a few students during workshops come up and go, I've tried to reach out to this person, I've tried to reach out to this person, no one's listening, I don't know what to do. And in saying this, I talk about this with my story in the workshops. If you've been in a workshop before, you've probably heard it. But during my mental health journey, when I was hospitalized at one point, I spoke to social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, dietitians. I spoke to so many people. And it wasn't until this one doctor actually listened to me. And this one doctor sat there and spent an hour with me listening to what was happening for me to actually get the support I needed, get linked in with services, get this, get that. It wasn't until that one person just absolutely just sat there and listened that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm finally being heard.
Yeah.
Once you get to that point of finally being heard, it's life-changing. And honestly, mental health is a massive journey, and we say this all the time in workshops, like it's not a straight road. right? It's a curvy road. It's going to go up and down. But in finding these safe people that you trust and are able to be there to support you and listen and guide you and just sometimes be there to not even say anything but just listen, it's huge in itself.
Yeah, and I love what you said, like it only takes one.
Yeah.
So keep using your voice because it only takes one.
Absolutely.
The next part of this question.
Yeah.
Will I ever get better?
Huge. So we always get asked this question in the workshops, and I think the main answer that I want to get across is yes, it will get better. And as much as it might feel really crappy right now and really hard and really low and really dark and things are just too much, it does get better. And if someone told me that a year ago, I'd be like, no way. Like, it's not going to get better. But looking back now, I'm like, things do get better with the right support in place, with the right systems, with family, friends, however that may look for you. Once you have that and you have those support systems in place, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah. So I think for me, I think of mental health and like its equivalent physical health. And I think for some people, their mentally unhealthy period is the equivalent of having a cold. It's there, it's brief, you get the support you need, you feel better. And for some people, their mentally unhealthy period might be the equivalent of having a broken arm or something else a little bit long term. So I know that I had to learn to stop trying to think of my journey with depression as having kind of an end date, which meant I was like cured and treated and finished.
Yeah.
And I had to start thinking of my depression journey as it was going to be more manageable. There was going to be less intense periods or less frequent periods when I wasn't feeling good. And that's a hard thing to accept.
Yeah.
But the more periods that you have that you're feeling good, you do then believe like, okay, is actually, this is what better looks like.
100%.
It does genuinely feel better. And so when people ask me this question, I say absolutely yes. Like you can have a fully thriving life. And even when you have those periods that maybe you feel a bit of an episode coming back, the pain might be the same, but I think the mindset around it is different because you have the hope that you've felt better before, so you will feel better again.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. I think hope is one of like the most important things.
Yeah, hope is so important because I feel like when you're in these dark places where you're feeling not so great and you're having trouble and things feel dark and hard, you kind of lose that hope. And I always talk about it like light at the end of the tunnel, right? Yeah. You're in this dark hole and you're like, there's no light, I can't see it. But once you're up there and it's like climbing up a ladder, and once you see that light, you're like, holy moly, like there is light at the end of the tunnel. And that doesn't dismiss the fact that you're going to still have hard days. Yeah. You're going to have those days which I like calling like doona days where you just like stay in bed and do absolutely nothing and watch movies and binge watch whatever you want to watch. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you've fallen all the way back down. And even when you are feeling like you're falling all the way back down, rely on those supports that you've put in place. Rely on those coping strategies. Rely on those things that have helped you in the past because it will really, really help.
Yeah, I think when you're in it, you want to think about what little thing can I do that can bring me comfort right now. It might not like treat it long term, but you find if you make use of the little comforts, it does build. So for me, when I felt empty and I feel like an empty jar, I think of like my romance books that I'd read or anything with a romance storyline. It's like sprinkling like a little bit of gold glitter into my empty jar. And I'm like, oh, that's
fairy dust.
Yeah. There's a little bit of sparkle there.
Yeah.
And so that maybe wasn't going to cure my depression, but it was going to give me that comfort to get me through the next day, while everything else fell into place. So I promise you can get better and you will get better.
And if you're watching this right now and you're like, things aren't looking better, please reach out to your supports. We've also got supports linked at the end of the episode as well. If you need to reach out to them, just know that things will get better with time. All right, so the next question that we have here is, I know my friend is struggling, but I don't know how to help. I think the first thing I would say here is there's like these three things that I like to say. And it's either, does your friend want to be hugged? Does your friend want to be helped? Or does your friend want to be heard? The reason I say these three things is hugged is like, do they want to be comforted? Do they want just someone to give them a cuddle? Heard, do they want someone to just listen without judgment and without having an answer? Or do they want to be helped? Do they want an answer? Do they want some solutions to what they're going through? And I think starting here and going, okay, my friend's struggling, let's start here and see how they go from there. And then if you're finding that your friend is still struggling and you're like, I don't know what to do, I don't know who to turn to, I think then going, okay, who else can we turn to? Finding out from your friend maybe who a trusted adult is for them. If they can't pinpoint one, it doesn't have to be their parents. It can be grandparents, aunties, uncles, cousins, family, friends, whoever that may look like for you. But finding that safe person for them, and if they can't pinpoint it, talking to one of your trusted adults. I know for myself, for example, if I put it in my shoes when I was struggling, my friend wasn't really sure what to do. So whenever I was struggling, my friend, whenever I went around to her house, her mum would be there to just like listen and support. And as much as my parents were such a strong support for me, it's also really nice to have that outsider point of view as well. But I think really pulling in and reining in on the support systems that your friend has around them, but then talking to a trusted adult, because there might be things that you may need to escalate. I know in high school, I had one of my friends who was really, really struggling and she wasn't able to keep herself safe. So I had to be like, okay, what can I do about this? Who can I go to? Who can I support during this? And I went and I spoke to a teacher who I trusted and I said, this is happening. And this person was able to go get help and this person was able to get linked in with the services that they needed to get linked in with.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think really similar to what we spoke about with No One Believes Me, just as there will be different doctors and psychologists and psychiatrists that you might not connect with, there are going to be some friends that aren't going to be the type of friend that you are going to have these discussions with. You know, you're going to have your friends that you hang out with and it's all lighthearted. And then you're going to have your friends that are there for you when you're feeling down. And then you're going to have your friends that you can be your total self around. So I think even if you've spoken to one or two friends and you just felt like that hasn't been what you needed, to be able to find those friends, you're like, actually, this is the friend I speak to when I'm struggling because the way that they listen makes me feel heard, or the way that they hug makes me feel held, or the advice they give makes me feel helped. So whichever it is that you need, it's okay if it's not the one friend or the same friend. So find the friends that have the capacity to be there for you. And it might change. Sometimes, you know, I've been the friend that I actually can't respond to these messages because I'm going through it. And, you know, they have to rely on other people in our group. Sometimes I am the friend that can be helpful.
Yeah. I think knowing your capacity for things, I always look at it as like there's an analogy and it's like, is your cup full or is it half full, right? If your cup's full, you can pour from that cup because there's still going to be water that's coming out of it. But if your cup is half empty or empty, you're going to be pouring from an empty cup. So you're not going to be able to support people because you probably need some support yourself. So I think looking at that as well and being like, allowing yourself to put in those boundaries as well of being like, I actually don't have the capacity for this at the moment, but who else can you reach out to have a conversation with about what's going on for you, or handing that over to a trusted adult that can then take the reins and help this person so the responsibility isn't on you anymore.
Absolutely. I think that's super important.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've got a friend, you feel like they're struggling, they're not acting like themselves, check in, see if they want to chat about it, see if they need anything. And if you're really worried, go to an adult, let them know. Because it's much more important that they've been linked into support.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were in a workshop a couple weeks back and one of the teachers said she had spoken to one of her classes about how to recognize when a friend was in trouble and what to do if you thought, you know, a friend needed support. And what had happened is in this class, there'd been a boy and, you know, a couple weeks later after they'd had this, he had been talking to one of the girls in the class and he'd been noticing some of the warning signs that maybe she was struggling and she wasn't doing so well. Now, he remembered this lesson where the teacher had said, this is what you look out for, and if this is happening, you need to tell an adult. So he told his mum, and his mum called the school. The school was able to call this girl's mother, and when they got the call, they went to her room and she was actually really unsafe in that moment. And if someone hadn't have gone to an adult and someone hadn't alerted the adults in this situation, then maybe this girl would have ended up being in a far worse situation than what happened. They were able to get help for her
Comes back to, like, trusting your gut, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Like, trusting your gut and knowing that, okay, my friend's not doing well. She might be saying that she's doing okay, but really I don't feel that great within my gut. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to go talk to a trusted adult so then they can possibly escalate the situation.
Absolutely. And
it
that
can be life-changing.
Is absolutely life-changing. So for that boy to know this is the type of thing I need to go to an adult for was so important.
Absolutely.
And that's, I suppose, what we just want to leave you with. As young people, we can take the responsibility on for ourselves. And even having friends who are like, don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone. It's so much more important that if you're worried, just say something.
If you're worried that your friend's going to be angry because you've told someone, look, they might be upset at the time, but further down the track, they're going to be like, holy moly, like, you really helped me there and I really appreciate it. I know that there were situations in high school where I had to tell someone about a friend, and at that moment they were frustrated and angry because they didn't know how else to feel. But later down the track, they were like, oh my goodness, like, if you didn't do that, things may have been looking a little bit different.
Absolutely. I think something you can do if you are worried about how your friend is going to feel is to check in and ask them, if you had to tell an adult, who is the adult you feel safest with?
Yeah.
Is it an auntie maybe instead of their parents? Or is it a teacher at the school? Because giving choice in this situation, even though maybe it's a limited choice, still helps that your friend feel like they have, control and agency over their life. And so if you're feeling conflicted about, I need to tell someone, they don't want me to tell someone, being able to give them the choice of, okay, I'm going to tell someone, who can I tell? Who would you prefer that person to be? Yeah. I think that is a compromise that keeps everyone safe in that situation.
Absolutely. All right, so to wrap up today's episode, we like to do what we want to leave behind and what we're going to love moving forward. Zoe, would you like to start?
Absolutely. So I am going to leave thinking that there is something wrong with me, thinking that somehow I'm failing as an adult for needing different things that I need when I'm not feeling good.
Absolutely. So I'm going to be leaving behind feeling like a burden when I reach out to other people. Yeah. I think it can become such a thing of when I reach out, I'm like, oh, no one really wants to listen or no one really cares. So I'm going to be leaving that behind.
That's a good one.
I've just started my nursing career in mental health nursing, and I'm loving being able to bring things that I've learnt at nursing to the job here at Big Sister. I think it's something that can be really impactful, and I'm learning a lot from that job and from this job as well. So I think implementing them both into one can be really, really awesome. So that's what I'm loving.
That's really cool.
What are you loving, Zoe?
I am loving guilt-free looking after myself, using the supports that I need, but also doing the things that give me a little bit of a dopamine kick. So at the moment, a year 7 last year, in a workshop that we did, recommended The Rookie. She was like, you have to watch The Rookie.
Nice.
You have to watch The Rookie. And I am.
It's good.
Oh, I'm obsessed with it. The nights of the episodes come out, I'm always so excited. Yep. I'm always keen. No matter what's happening, I'm like, everyone stop. I need to go and watch the latest episode of The Rookie.
You've made me want to go and watch it now. Yes. I've been trying to start watching it, but I haven't been doing it properly. Yeah. So.
Nah. 8 seasons, perfect.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today in the Sisterhood Space, whether you're watching or listening. We would love if you could please rate, share, comment. We would also love to hear your questions that you have for us. So there is a Google form in the description below. If you please click that Google form and submit some questions that you want us to answer on the podcast.
I can't wait till the next time we get to be back answering your questions. I hope you enjoyed this time as much as we did.
Amazing. 3, 2, 1,
whoosh!
Here are some resources for further support. Lifeline 131114. Beyond Blue 1300 224 636. 1-800-RESPECT 1800 737 732. Suicide Callback Services 1300 659 467. 13-YARN 139276. QLife 1800 184 527. Kids Helpline 1800 55 1800. There's a QR code for further resources.